All right, now before you start sifting and cutting through all your footage, I want to talk a little bit about keyboard shortcuts. Keyboard shortcuts are a combination of keys on a keyboard to allow you to select a tool or an effect without having to click with your mouse. And I'm telling you, if you get in the habit of learning a good amount of these shortcuts, it will literally cut your editing time in half. So don't skip this video, and please take the time to get in the habit of actually using these shortcuts, because it will save you endless hours and make you a much more proficient editor. Now, I'm not going to take you through every possible keyboard shortcut, only the ones that I primarily use, and you can customize new keyboard shortcuts by clicking on Premiere Pro in the top left, then click Keyboard Shortcuts. Then you can search for a shortcut and assign it to whatever key or combination of keys that you'd like. If you just want to have all the same keyboard shortcuts as me, then I provided a preset in this lecture that you can download and import by clicking on it, and it'll start downloading. Then go into your computer and click on Documents, Adobe, Premiere Pro, then click on the latest version you want to import to, click on your user profile, then click on Mac, then simply copy and paste the preset into this folder. Then restart Premiere, go back into your keyboard shortcuts, toggle down keyboard layout preset, select my preset, and my shortcuts will now work on your computer. So assuming you've imported my shortcuts, let me now show you my keyboard shortcuts and the times that I use them. The first and most important one that you'll use the most is playing and pausing your footage, which you can do by pushing spacebar. The next one you'll probably use most often is zooming in and out of your timeline to be able to see closer up on each individual clip, or zooming out to see your whole timeline. And you can do this by pushing the plus or minus sign to zoom in or to zoom out. You'll usually want to zoom in nice and close when chopping through your footage, and you can chop through footage in a couple different ways depending on the situation. If you click on this razor tool over here, this will allow you to cut through footage, and I have my shortcut set to B, which in my mind stands for blade. Then once I've made a cut with my blade tool, I push A for my select tool, which allows me to click and drag clips to move them around on my timeline. And if I ever want to delete something, you just click on it and push the delete key. But if I want the space to automatically delete along with the clip, then I push F, which I have set to ripple delete. So when cutting through footage, my process will look something like this. Push B, make my cut, then push A to select what I want to delete, push F, which will delete it and the space it occupied, and then repeat that process over and over. Another way you can do this that can be even faster sometimes is to click on the clip that you want to add a cut to, put your cursor on the spot you want to cut, then push E to add edit, and F to delete the clip and space that you want to discard. And at any time, if you want to undo anything you just did, as a universal keyboard shortcut, Command and Z will edit undo everything you just did. And if you decide you actually did want those changes, let's redo all of that by pushing Command Shift Z to redo any undos. Also, as a universal keyboard shortcut is Command C to copy a clip, and then Command V to paste that clip. Now you notice that when I pasted that, it overwrote the existing clip. So to keep that from happening, I either have to bring my cursor to an empty part of the timeline, or I have to come over here to these blue V1, V2, V3s, and wherever the lowest blue is the video line where the clip's going to get pasted to. So if I unselect V1 and select V2, upon pasting something, it will now paste on line 2. Now sometimes I've seen the issue where people tell me they can't drag any clip onto their timeline at all. That happens when this far left V1 isn't highlighted. So make sure that is always highlighted blue, or else you won't be able to put any clips on the timeline at all. Now, very similar to the copy and paste is the copy attributes and paste attributes, which means if I have an effect applied to my clip, let's say I color corrected clip 1 and wanted to apply that same color correction to clip 2 without having to go through the exact same color correction process again, then I'd hit Command C, which would copy this clip, and then Option V, which will paste the attributes of clip 1, and it'll ask me which attributes I want to paste from that clip. So make sure to check the ones you do want to paste and uncheck anything else that you don't want copied over. Another shortcut I use a lot is V, which allows me to enable or disable a clip, revealing a clip or anything else that's below it if you have multiple things stacked on top of each other. This can also be done by right-clicking on the clip and coming to Enable. Another one I like to use, let's say I want to extend out my audio, but I don't want to extend out the video since they're linked together. I have to unlink them, which I can do by right-clicking and then unlink, or I have that set to U, which allows me to now work with the audio and video separately of each other. And if I ever want to link them back together, or if I want to link multiple clips together that were already linked together so that I can more quickly chop through all of them at once, then I just select everything that I want linked together and hit U again, and now they're all linked. And if it's not letting you link multiple clips together, make sure each clip you are wanting to link is on own video or audio line. It won't link two clips together that are on the same line. And also make sure you have this linked selection icon checked to blue, or else it won't let you link anything together at all. Speaking of these icons, I always like to have this snap in timeline turned on as well, which makes it easier to snap a clip next to another clip without accidentally cutting part of it off. Now, if you ever want to change the speed of a clip to play slower or faster, you can right click and go to speed duration, or I have my keyboard shortcut to Command J, then just type in the percentage of speed you want, hit enter, and it will change the duration of that clip. Now keep in mind you can only apply one effect on a clip at a time, or else the second effect you choose won't work. So for example, if I just sped up that clip and also wanted to apply another effect like warp stabilizer, I'd first have to nest the clip, which basically creates a new layer of that clip, so you can then add on more effects. And you can do that by right clicking and then nest, or shortcut I have set is N. You can then name it if you want, and then it creates a new fresh clip. And you can also nest multiple clips together if your timeline is getting too messy and you want to condense a bunch of clips into one clip. And you can always access what's inside that nested clip by double clicking on it, and it pulls up a new sequence, so you can edit anything within that nested clip. Now, if I ever want to move everything on my timeline over to the right to make room for something else, I can either zoom all the way out, select everything to the right of where I'm wanting to move, zoom back in, and then shift it over. Or the shortcut that I use is T, or track forward, and then just click and drag everything that I want to move to the right. Now, if I ever want to give a crossfade to my audio, I can right click on the edge of a clip and click Apply Default Transition, or I can click on the edge of the clip and push C, which will automatically apply a crossfade. You can set a keyboard shortcut for crossfading video as well, but I rarely do the video crossfades, only the audio ones, so I don't have anything set for the video crossfades. Now, as you're editing your project, it's smart to every once in a while click Command S, which will save your project. Your project should be auto-saving every 15 minutes by default, but within that 15 minutes, it's good to get in the habit of every once in a while pushing Command S. Now, whenever you apply effects, you'll see here that there's a yellow line that will sometimes appear red. What Premiere Pro is telling you is that it can't play that clip back at its full resolution until you render it. And in order to render out a specific set of clips, you push I for in and O for out, which will give you in and out points to your desired work area. Then you push Command R to begin rendering inside that work area. And as you can see, this bar begins to turn green as it renders out those clips, which will then allow you to watch back those clips at full resolution without dropping any frames. And when you're ready to export out your final video, you'd push I and O for your in and out points of what you want to export out as your final video. Then you come over here to File, Export, then select Media, or you can do the keyboard shortcut Command M, which brings up the export window for you to then export. So those are the main tools and corresponding keyboard shortcuts that I use most in my editing workflow. Be aware that I did customize a lot of these shortcuts, so you'll have to go and set those up yourself in the keyboard shortcuts or download and import my preset. But again, I highly recommend learning and applying shortcuts to your workflow, as it will dramatically speed up your editing time, which will in turn allow you to take more clients and make more money. So definitely worth the time to incorporate these. But if you guys have any further questions about keyboard shortcuts, please let me know.